What's up, gang? Welcome back to DizDad TV, and thank you again for joining me on the channel. I appreciate it as always. Today's another reaction video, and we're checking out the Disney Plus and Star Wars series Andor. This is episode 1, titled Episode 1. But if you want to check out my reactions for their Star Wars, Marvel shows, trailers, theme parks, and Imagineering content, you can find that on the homepage of my channel. Appreciate you checking that out, liking, subscribing, all that crazy stuff. But super excited to be jumping into this show today. Really looking forward to this. You know, if we'd gone back, I don't know, a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, when we had the future Disney Plus Star Wars lineup to look forward to, I don't know that I would have had this show rated this highly, not because I didn't like the character. You know, thoroughly enjoyed Cassian Andor from the movie Rogue One. Of the 5 Disney Star Wars films that have been released since they bought Lucasfilm, I've enjoyed Rogue One the most. Just really like that film. But we had so much to look forward to with Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka comes out next year at some point, multiple seasons of Mandalorian, and then this show. Obviously, I enjoyed both Boba Fett and Obi-Wan. They didn't quite hit the high watermark I think we'd all hoped they would, for most Star Wars fans, but I did enjoy both shows. And really just the more information we got on this show. The initial announcement, I'm not sure when that was, maybe the end of last year, when they said, 2 seasons, 24 episodes, which was kind of a big deal when you think about the commitment that Disney made, to this show of getting that many seasons, that many episodes compared to all the other Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel shows that had come out to that point. It was really kind of a huge thing. That first teaser trailer was fantastic. The full-length trailer was even better. Just love the look and feel and vibe they're going for with this show. The early workings of the rebellion, seen through the eyes of Cassian Andor and other rebellion characters. So really looking forward to this season, what they have in store for us, and what this all looks like. So all that being said, I'm ready to jump into this. Let's go ahead and check it out. I feel like I'm watching the opening for 2001 here. Oh, it's a logo reveal. Right off the bat, opening sequence. Dark, gritty, rain. I think a lot of what we had in store for us with this series. Get a lot of Blade Runner and what's that game, Cyberpunk vibes from this so far.
What do you think about it? Just send you home crying.
Hello tonight.
Just me.
Have you been with us before?
First time.
Have we had a brothel in Star Wars before? I'm assuming that's what this is. Obviously, we've had all sorts of cantinas and bars, but
We were at first.
I don't recall any brothels.
Let me go and check on that for you.
He's getting the stare down. He's gonna have some issues with these guys, isn't he?
What was her name?
Nobody here gives their real name.
He doesn't know his sister's name, or was this he's looking for her stage name? It's interesting. Oh, it's those 2 guys, isn't it?
We'd have to impound your ride.
You're gonna shake him down.
You wanted, you take it, and I walk away. I don't need any surprises.
I don't think it's gonna go that easily, is it? Oof.
Oh, the bucket.
Ooh. That escalated quickly. Oh, nice takedown.
He's not breathing.
The headbutt killed him? Wow.
Hello?
That's all he did was the headbutt, right? He didn't do anything else.
Hello?
He must have hit him just right. I think you're next, buddy.
We're going together. I'll tell them what happened.
Oof. Yeah, he wasn't taking any chances. Well, how's that for an opening sequence of this show? Gritty, dark, 2 deaths, a street fight scene, or minor street fight scene. And I have to recall, trying to think back to Rogue One, the first time we met Cassian Andor. Was it a similar, it was obviously a much more populated area, but I feel like he was meeting an informant. Kind of a dark alley type situation, so interesting similarities between the two times we've met him, obviously before, but between the series and the film. Oh, what are these things? Oh. He's got one of those little electrifiers like R2 has, doesn't he? Alright, Pixar fans, what movie does this remind you of? That's like a shot straight out of WALL-E, isn't it? Oh, Kassa. I guess we're gonna get like an early childhood flashback pretty early, aren't we? I imagine that would be a disturbing sight. They seem to be a somewhat primitive society from what we're used to seeing in Star Wars, and I don't know what kind of ship that is, crashing through the atmosphere, but I imagine that would be a bit disturbing. I'm guessing that's the sister.
It's not important.
If it's not important, well, why not tell me?
But can you make a lie for me?
I can lie. I have adequate power reserves.
How great are robots in the Star Wars universe? It's such an important part. It's amazing. You look back, obviously R2 and C-3PO, BB-8. And I think they've said K-2SO is not going to be in this series from Rogue One. Maybe he pops up at the very tail end of season 2, but it's great to see we're getting some robots, or I should say droid presence in this series right off the bat. And a funny one at that. Oh, that's the tower. So this must be the village and tower from the trailer we saw. Looks like a man on a mission, doesn't he?
But I wasn't there. So then you started home and you saw me at the hotel.
He needs an alibi. What else are friends for?
Please. I really need this.
That's quite a contrived backstory.
You insulted my choice of beverage. As host and provider, I was offended by it.
And he's gonna make it even longer. That's great.
I knew I could count on you.
I'm not lending you any money.
That's a good guy. That's a good guy. He'll cover for him, but he's not giving him any money.
Perhaps slightly. Pockets piping and some light.
He takes his uniform pretty seriously, doesn't he?
I don't mean just the talking, I mean stop.
He's gonna cover it up, isn't he?
Sure, it's on the far side of the plaza. Let's get it outside the leisure zone.
But they were murdered.
No,
This guy doesn't understand, does he?
I am on my way this very morning to an Imperial Regional Command review.
That makes some sense. This corporate security or security for this corporation, they have to report up the chain to the Empire and the powers that be, so the last thing you want to do is draw attention to yourself with any sort of trouble or mishaps with either your employees or areas you're watching, so...
Put your feet on my desk in my absence and let's have an accident report waiting when I get back.
That was a good scene. That was a really good scene.
No, that's not how it works. I bundle things before I make contact.
Basically, she says fence, right?
An untraceable NS9 Starpath unit. Vector crystals and Imperial seal still intact.
How long have you
I have no idea what that is, but it sounds important. And obviously, she knows what it is. And he's trying to offload it pretty quickly, so it must have some importance.
Are you?
What?
Oh, jealous boyfriends? I wonder if that makes him a former boyfriend by chance?
Then you better find yourself a less complicated woman. Good luck with that.
Interesting. This is like... It's not war paint because they're not going to battle, but... I guess it sort of is. I guess maybe they're going to see that ship, I assume, or to find that ship. So this is some sort of excursion, adventure markings. And I'm curious, where are all the adults? I see only kids here so far. A few older kids, but I don't see any adults.
Sublight something. Orlean Star Cab or day van, some old...
Is it like a flight path tracker? He's not letting this go.
Let me know. I'm sure somebody wants the chair.
Yeah, this dude, he's not giving up that easy like his boss wanted. He's an obvious stickler for the job.
Fetch?
What is that?
You need work this bad.
Leave him out of it. He said all I needed to do was stand here.
Very interesting character.
gonna
And we're learning more about Andor here. He's obviously got some money issues. Trying to scrounge up money. He's been borrowing money, apparently. Oh, yeah. He doesn't trust her. The jealous boyfriend. Got to figure out what she's up to.
Yellow racks at the back. You might have to dig a little.
What is she looking for? Ah, very cool. I'm assuming this is how she signals her buyer. Not that she's necessarily part of the rebellion, but they've got this hidden little station there that they can handle signals, because obviously this would be frowned upon with the corporation security, what have you.
He's on his way up.
Is he even allowed to approve overtime?
Is that like blue Chinese food there?
This is the murder of 2 Primor employees!
This guy. Wow.
Set up a desk here to monitor anything that comes in.
Looks like we got ourselves a Star Wars all points bulletin here, don't we?
It's the old one. I'm just putting a blank in right now.
That's a little bit of Ferris Bueller here. He took that thing out for a ride thanks to that guy. He's new tank of gas. He's gonna change the mileage, so to speak, with the ship's log. So that's pretty funny.
No more favors, no more deals. Listen.
Don't.
Getting a lot more insight into Andor at this time and place. He's a guy just doing everything he can, I assume, to survive. He's looking for his sister, but he's borrowing money from guys. He's doing favors. He's taking these ships out from the shipyard. I'm assuming as part of his search for his sister. Again, I don't see any adults, just the kids. Oh, is this going to be the last time he sees his sister? As kids? Is that why he doesn't know her name? Ah, the end. Of course. A very low-key ending, though, for sure. You know, a little bit of a cliffhanger there with the flashback, but no major action sequence, and really no action whatsoever in this whole episode, save for, you know, what, the first 3 or 4 minutes with that opening sequence with Andor and the 2 security officers. And but still, nonetheless, a very riveting episode for me, at least. I really enjoyed this. It was not a ton of action. This was basically a world building episode. You know, setting the stage, giving an idea of where Andor is at in his life. We're starting to put some pieces together of what has brought him to this point. You know, what he's up to. He's looking for his sister. Very curious if that was the last moment he saw her. Was that parting shot there in their village? You know, where they're going off to, I think, to explore that ship. And it makes a lot of sense to kind of leaving at this point. We know Disney has dropped the first 3 episodes. And one thing we know about Andor, especially season 2, you know, season 2 is going to take place over a 4-year stretch. So every 3 episodes, I think, is a year. Whereas this first season is 1 year. So there's going to be some obvious time jumps. I have to assume these first 3 episodes are going to take place pretty continuous over a series of days or what have you, short of the flashbacks, obviously. But I got to believe this next episode picks up immediately with Andor maybe meeting the buyer. We get more of these flashbacks of the kids going to explore that ship and kind of picks up from there. And I would assume we'll maybe conclude this part of the arc with episode 3 before maybe episode 3 to 4, there's some sort of time jump. So really curious to see if I'm right on that, but I have to believe that's the case, that we see some sort of definitive arc with these first 3 episodes and then maybe jump forward a little bit in Andor's life and the rebellion's life, I should say, as well, down the road. So one thing I'm curious about too with this village, again, very primitive village. I didn't see any parents or adults. It seemed like mostly kids. So very curious about that. And timeline wise, I know Rogue One and this series was about 5 years before Rogue One, and in turn episode 4. So I guess if you kind of jump back, I don't know how old he is at this point in time, but think about when he's a kid, he looked like he was maybe 10, 11, 12, thereabouts. Maybe you're jumping back 20 or 20 plus years, from the start of the show. So is this taking place sometime, Revenge of the Sith? Maybe right before Revenge of the Sith, between that and Attack of the Clones. I'm trying to place timeline-wise where that's at. So, why this ship would be crashing, whose ship that was. It didn't look Imperial. Obviously, there's really no rebellion at this point. So maybe we'll get some more information, more details, in the next episode or two. But again, I really enjoyed this episode. Very intense, and I don't want to say edge of your seat, but you get some sense of where they're going for this. Obviously, it harkens back to how Rogue One was set up and the filming style and the look and feel. But you're really the opening shot of this episode, dark, gritty, rain, harkens back to Blade Runner I mentioned, very cyberpunk, even a little bit of, I don't know if I say Tron, just because of the neon, but definitely like that look and feel. And really throughout the whole episode, not a lot happened. We met some new characters. Obviously, as I said, we got more information on Andor. We met Bix, Tim, her boyfriend, other little side characters throughout the story. I don't know how much more of them we'll see. I'm sure these next couple episodes will meet even more characters that will play some sort of part, in Andor's life, but also the rebellion itself. But we also got, this was much more of a street level episode than really what we typically get in Star Wars. Usually it's much bigger picture, grander scale. You think about some of the planets that we've been to. This episode alone, we went to, I think, 3 or 4 planets just in this episode alone. Briefly for some of them, obviously. Canary there, Ferrix, that corporate planet, don't remember the name of that. And then even the very planet at the very beginning. So getting bits and pieces of the universe, and we see this village. No stormtroopers in this episode, really no Empire, but you kind of get a sense of the everyday life of what people were going through, as the Empire has taken hold of the galaxy and kind of where things are at. Very interesting. It's nice to, again, kind of get that street level vibe and a much different feel and presence from what we're used to with Star Wars. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think it's very fitting for, just talking about the rebellion and seeing the inner workings and beginnings of rebellion. I think it definitely fits. And it's a good change up from what we've had really with any of the Disney Plus shows so far. Mandalorian, you get a little bit of it, but obviously Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, nothing to this scale and this sense and this look. But very much looking forward to episode 2 and kind of where we can go from here. How this story continues to develop, I assume we'll see more about the search for his sister, maybe some more of the backstory when he was a kid, kind of how he got to this point, and what's next for him as he meets this buyer, I assume, in the next episode. And the security force that's beginning the search for Canary Male, responsible for killing 2 of their officers. I would imagine that search is going to intensify as well, not that they've released an all points bulletin, so to speak. Nothing definitive about who it is, but they know kind of what they're looking for. So be interested to see how that plays out in the next couple episodes as well. So, but wrapping all this up, really enjoyed this episode, like where this is going so far to this point. Very much looking forward to episode 2. Hope you guys will join me then. And until then, I will see you for episode 2.